हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण। हरे कृष्ण। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I will chant a small kirtan. Telugu. I'm preparing my mind. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunira Vanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Mahalakshmi, Mahalakshmi, come here. Sit. You are your only student. Your sister also. You can sit and do. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Please chant Hare Krishna. Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jayo Mahaprabhu, Jayo Mahaprabhu, Jayo Mahaprabhu, Jayo Mahaprabhu, महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु जय महाप्रभु जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरान जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जगन्नाथ जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय जय श्रील प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल. How many people know Telugu here? Okay. So today is Telugu lecture. If you can understand, talk in Telugu. So we'll just sing a small Ram bhajan and then go. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram 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 Sita Ram Jayo Sita 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 Ram Shri Ram Jayo Ram Jayo Jayo Ram Shri Ram Jayo Ram Jayo Jayo Ram Shri Bolo Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram Sita Ram Jaya Lakshmana Hanuman 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram 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 Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ki Om Ajnananda Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Gurom Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurom Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrujatam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakantamsha Namavom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Satharine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindobhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyom Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा प्लीज रेज योर हैंड्स। कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरों दीनतारिणं। हरे कृष्ण। బలిమర్దన్ ప్రభుకి వాళ్ళ భక్త వృందకి అందరికీ నా కృతజ్ఞతలు. ఈరోజు రేపు ఎల్లుండి దీపావళి శుభదినం. ఎవరికైనా ఇక్కడ దీపావళి అంటే ఎందుకు వస్తుంది తెలుసా? జస్ట్ స్మాల్ సమ్మరీ ప్లీజ్. ప్రభు మైక్రోఫోన్, ప్రభు మైక్రోఫోన్. No, that's okay. Yeah, broadcasting. Okay, you can. Telugu. Yes. Correct. తెలుగు. ఓకే, ఎస్ కరెక్ట్. సో దీపావళి శుభదినము ఇండియాలో న్యూ ఇయర్గా సెలబ్రేషన్ చేసుకుంటారు. అంటే కొత్త సంవత్సరం. ప్రతి సంవత్సరము సౌత్ ఇండియాలో ఉగాది, ప్లస్ కేరళలో ఓనం, అలా నార్త్ ఇండియాలో దీపావళి వచ్చి న్యూ ఇయర్గా సెలబ్రేట్ చేసుకుంటారు అనమాట. ఈ దీపావళి మీన్స్ దీపంతో రాముణ్ణి ఆహ్వానించారు తమ హృదయంలోకి, వాళ్ళ ఇండ్లకు, వాళ్ళ స్వగృహాలకి. భగవద్గీతలో కృష్ణుడు ఏమని చెప్తాడంటే, పవిత్రానాయ సాధూనాం వినాశాయ చతుష్కృతాం ధర్మ సంస్థాపనార్థాయ సంభవామి యుగే యుగే. ప్రతి యుగంలో ధర్మ సంస్థాన కోసం నేను ఆవిర్భవిస్తాను. సో నా ఆవిర్భావానికి ముఖ్య కారణము సాధువుల్ని రక్షించడం. సో భగవంతుడిని రామచంద్రుడు 14 సంవత్సరాలు వనవాసం తర్వాత తిరిగి అయోధ్యకి తిరిగి వచ్చేటప్పుడు చాలా పాస్ట్ టైమ్స్ జరిగినాయి. అంటే భగవంతుడు రామేశ్వరం నుంచి అయోధ్యకి అందరూ వానర సైన్యంతో వస్తారనమాట భగవంతుడు. సో ఆల్రెడీ వాళ్ళు వానర సైన్యం చాలా పెద్ద సైన్యం, కానీ అంతా ఎట్లా వచ్చినారు మీకు తెలుసా? అందరూ కుబేరుడు ఒక పుష్పక విమానం ఉంటుందన్నమాట కుబేరుడికి. ఆ పుష్పక విమానము రావణాసుడు కుబేరుడిని జయించి ఆ హరే కృష్ణ పుష్పక విమానాన్ని తీసుకుంటాడనమాట. సో ఇప్పుడు రావణాసుడు చనిపోతాడు, అంటే లిబరేట్ అవుతాడు, చనిపోవడు. అంటే సో సీతాదేవి, రాముడు అందరూ ఎదురు కలిసి ఆ పుష్పక విమానంలో తిరిగి వెళ్తారు, తిరిగి అయోధ్యకు వస్తారు. అప్పుడు సీతాదేవి అడుగుతుందనమాట, మనం ఒకటే పోకుండా అందరినీ పిలుచుకొని పోదాము అని అడుగుతుంది. సో ఓకే అని చెప్పి కిష్కింద దగ్గర ఆగుతారనమాట. ఫస్ట్ స్టాప్ ఇన్ కిష్కింద. కిష్కింద దగ్గర ఆగి అందరి వానరుల్ని తీసుకెళ్తారనమాట. ఎందుకు? సీత కోరిక కోసము. రాముడికి కూడా ఇష్టమే, బట్ అందరిని తీసుకెళ్లడము అనేది రాముడు ఆలోచించాడు అనమాట. బట్ సీత అడుగుతుంది అనమాట, ఏమంటే వాళ్ళని కూడా తీసుకెళ్దాము. అందరూ అయోధ్యకి పుష్పక విమానంలో బయలుదేరుతారు. బట్ దానికి ముందు ఏం జరుగుతుంది? మీకు రావణాసుడు ఎవరో తెలుసా? అంటే అతనికి ఇంకో పేరుంది, దశగ్రీవ. 10 తలకాయలు 20 కండ్లు. సో అతను బ్రహ్మ కుమారుడు, బ్రహ్మకి పౌత్రుడు, అంటే గ్రాండ్ సన్ అనమాట. సో రావణాసుడు అతను చంపిన తర్వాత, అంటే లిబరేట్ చేసిన తర్వాత రామచంద్రుడిని అర్థం చేసుకునేది చాలా ఈజీ. అంటే కృష్ణుని అర్థం చేసుకునేది చాలా కష్టం. ఎందుకు చెప్పేది? కృష్ణుడు అర్ధరాత్రి ఆవిర్భవించాడు, రాముడు మధ్యాహ్నం ఆవిర్భవించాడు. అది కృష్ణుడు జైల్లో ఆవిర్భవించాడు, రాముడు ఎక్కడ ఆవిర్భవించాడు? ప్యాలెస్. అందరూ చూస్తుండగా. అందుకే రాముడు సూర్యవంశము, కృష్ణుడు చంద్రవంశం. సో కృష్ణుడిని అర్థం చేసుకునే చాలా ఈజీ అనమాట, కష్టము. రాముడిని ఇది అర్థం చేసుకునే చాలా ఈజీ, ఎందుకంటే అందరూ చూస్తా ఉండగానే ఆయన ఆవిర్భవించాడు. బట్ కృష్ణుడు జైల్లో ఎవరికి కనపడకుండా. సో బట్ ప్లీజింగ్, రాముడిని ప్లీజ్ చేయడం కంపారిటివ్లీ కృష్ణ ఇట్స్ ఈజీ అనమాట. సో భగవంతుడు రామచంద్రుడు ఆవిర్భవించిన తర్వాత అరణ్యవాసానికి వెళ్ళకముందు, మీకు అందరికీ తెలుసు పాస్ట్ టైము, మంథర వల్ల భరతుడికి నందిగ్రామ్ అని ఉంటాడనమాట. నందిగ్రామ్లో ఉంటాడు. ఎందుకంటే రామచంద్రుడు లేనప్పుడు నాకు ఆ రాజ్యం వద్దు, నాకు ఎన్ని రాజభోగము ఏమీ వద్దు, నేను కూడా రాముడు మాదిరే ఉండాలనేసి ఆవు పంచితం అంటే తెలుసు కదా, కౌ యూరిన్, దాంతో అన్నం సోక్ చేసుకొని రోజు తినేవాడు అనమాట. ఎవరు? భరతుడు. అన్నం మీద అంత ప్రేమ, గౌరవము. 14 సంవత్సరాలు అయోధ్యకి వెళ్ళడు. అక్కడే అయోధ్యలో ఆయన పాదాలు సింహాసనం పైన పెట్టి ఇతను ఇక్కడి నుంచి పరిపాలిస్తుంటాడు, నందగ్రామ్ నుంచి. రాముడు మాదిరే కుటీరు, ఆ కుటీర్ కన్నా ఇతని కుటీర్ చిన్నది, చాలా చిన్నదనమాట. రాముడు తినేదానికన్నా ఇతను చాలా తక్కువ, ఒక పూటే తినేవాడు. అప్పుడప్పుడు ఆవు పంచితంలో గ్రెయిన్స్ అంటే బియ్యము అవి వేసుకొని అవి తినేవాడు. ఎందుకు అంత ఆస్టారిటీ చేసేవాడు? ఎందుకు అంత అవసరం లేదు కదా, అతను రాజ్యాన్ని పరిపాలించవచ్చు, అతను రాజు. రాముడు ఈ అయోధ్య నుంచి వైకుంఠానికి, అయోధ్య ధామ్కి తిరిగి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు అందరినీ తీసుకెళ్తాడు. లవ అండ్ కుశ, రాముడి కుమారులు, భూమిని అర్థంగా చేసి లవునికి కుశునికి ఇస్తాడనమాట పరిపాలించమని. సో అందుకే మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఈ పురాణం అంతా ఇట్స్ ఆల్ ఇప్పుడు రియాలిటీ అనమాట. ఎందుకంటే మరీచి అని ఒక రాక్షసుడిని చంపుతాడనమాట రాముడు. దాన్ని చంపకముందు అతన్ని ఒక బాణంతో సంధిస్తే అతను 600 యోజనాలు ఓషన్ అంటే సముద్రంలో పడతాడనమాట. సో ఆ ప్లేసు మరీచి కాబట్టి మారిషియస్ అయిందనమాట. మరీచి బికమ్ మారిషియస్, అంటే మారిషియస్. ఇట్ నేమ్ ఇస్ సమ్వాట్ రిలేటెడ్. ఒకసారి మన ఇస్కాన్ సన్యాసి ఒక అతను సౌత్ అమెరికాకి వెళ్ళినాడు అనమాట. సో అక్కడ మన ప్రచారం కోసము అక్కడ సౌత్ అమెరికాలో ఒక పొలిటికల్ లీడరు ఇస్కాన్ సన్యాసికి రాముడు ఇస్కాన్ సన్యాసి వచ్చి అతనికి బుక్ సమర్పిస్తాడు అనమాట, రామాయణం. మాకంతా తెలుసు, ఎందుకంటే మేము కుషైట్స్ అని చెప్తాడనమాట. కుషైట్స్ అంటే వీఆర్ డిసెండెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ కుష యూజ్ టు రూల్ దిస్, ఈ ప్లేస్ని పరిపాలించేవాడు అనేసి. సో ఇవన్నీ మనకి నేను ఎందుకు చెప్తున్నానంటే, లార్డ్ రామచంద్ర పాస్ట్ టైమ్స్ ఆర్ ఇటర్నల్లీ గోయింగ్ ఆన్, అంటే అన్ని చోట్ల జరుగుతూ ఉంటుంది. ఈ దీపావళి అనేది మన మన జ్ఞానాన్ని ఒక దీపం మాదిరి వెలిగించి మనం ఇంట్లోకి ఆహ్వానించాల. సో భరతుడు ఈ విధంగా పెనెన్సెస్ అంటే ఆస్టారిటీస్ చేస్తూ ఇక్కడ ఉంటాడనమాట నందిగ్రామ్లో. ఫస్ట్ ఓకే, పుష్పక విమానంలో అందరూ ఎక్కి వానర సైన్యం తిరిగి వస్తారు. తిరిగి వచ్చేటప్పుడు సెకండ్ స్టాప్ వచ్చి భారద్వాజ ముని దగ్గర ఆగుతారనమాట. భారద్వాజ మహర్షి వాళ్ళ కుటీర్లోకి వెళ్ళి రాముడి దగ్గర బ్లెస్సింగ్స్ తీసుకుంటాడు. ఇంకా థర్డ్ స్టాప్ వచ్చి నందిగ్రామ్లో. సో దానికి ముందు ఏం జరుగుతుందంటే, 14 సంవత్సరాలు లోపల రాముడు రాకపోతే నేను నా ఆత్మసమర్పణ చేసుకుంటాను, అంటే నేను ఇక్కడి నుంచి ఈ ప్రపంచం వదిలి వెళ్ళిపోతాను, నేను సూసైడ్ చేసుకుంటాను అని చెప్తాడంట భరతుడు. అందుకని రాముడు ఏం చేస్తాడంటే హనుమంతుడిని పంపిస్తాడు. ఫస్ట్ పోయేసి నేను వస్తానని చెప్పు. ఎవరికి? భరతుడికి చెప్పు. సో దట్ అతను ఏమి ఆత్మ సమర్పణ చేసుకోడు. నువ్వు 14 సంవత్సరాలు అయిపోకముందే నువ్వు వెళ్ళు అని చెప్తాడు అనమాట. సో 2 రోజులకు ముందు హనుమంతుడు వెళ్తాడు. మీరు హనుమంతుడికి అంత జ్ఞానము అంతా ఇచ్చిండేది ఎవరు? మీకు ఐడియా ఉంది? హనుమంతుడికి సూర్యభగవాన్ కరెక్ట్, బట్ మర్చిపోతాడు హనుమంతుడు మొత్తం. ఎందుకంటే అతనికి ఒక శాపం అనమాట. ఏమి? అతనికి వచ్చిండే వరాలన్నీ మర్చిపోతాడు. సో అతనికి అతను గుర్తు చేస్తాడనమాట. ఆ గుర్తు చేసిన తర్వాత రామాయణం అంతా హనుమంతుడి పేరే ఉంటుందన్నమాట. కానీ గుర్తు చేయేంత వరకు ఎవరికి తెలియదు హనుమంతుడు ఎవరని. సో అది గుర్తు చేసిన తర్వాత అతను అయోధ్యకి వెళ్ళి లంకకి వెళ్ళి అందరినీ రాక్షసులందరినీ వార్నింగ్ ఇచ్చి బ్యాక్ వస్తాడు అనమాట. సో అందుకే గురువు అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. అంటే మనకి తద్విధి ప్రణిపాతైన పరిప్రశ్నైన సేవయ, అంటే మనము ఒక బోనిఫైడ్ స్పిరిచువల్ మాస్టర్ని అప్రోచ్ అయ్యి అతన్ని ద్వారా మనం నాలెడ్జ్ తెచ్చుకోవాలన్నమాట. అంటే భగవంతుడి అతను చెప్పినప్పుడు అతని గురించి ఎవరికి తెలియదు. అందుకే లీడర్ అనేవాడు ఎప్పుడు బ్యాక్ ఉంటాడు. ప్రభుపాదుల వారు అమెరికాకు వచ్చి ఆల్రెడీ 30 సంవత్సరాల పైన అయింది. ఆయన మిషన్ ఈ ఇస్కాన్ సొసైటీ అన్నమాట. సో నేను ఎందుకు ఇది చెప్తున్నానంటే, జస్ట్ అతనికి గుర్తు చేసినాడు. మనమంతా భగవంతుని వీఆర్ ఆల్ సర్వెంట్స్, అంటే ఆయన దాసులమే అనమాట. మన మూడు ఎప్పుడు శత్రుఘ్న మూడ్లో ఉండాలి. శత్రుఘ్న అంటే తెలుసు కదా ఎవరు? శత్రుఘ్న భరతుడు తమ్ముడు. సో రాముడు దాసుడు వచ్చి లక్ష్మణుడు ఓకే, లక్ష్మణుడు దాసుడు వచ్చి శత్రుఘ్నుడు. సో భరతుడు వచ్చి మళ్ళీ రాముడు దాసుడే అనమాట. సో మనం దాస్ మూడ్లో ఉండాలంటే శత్రుఘ్నుడి మూడ్లో ఉంటే మనం భగవంతుడిని చేరుతామన్నమాట. మనం ఎప్పుడైతే భగవంతుడిని నేరుగా చూడాలనుకుంటామో, ఎప్పుడైతే మనం భగవంతుడిని ఫేస్ టు ఫేస్ చూడాలనుకుంటామో, కానీ మనకుండే నాలెడ్జ్, మనకుండే ఐస్తో మనం చూడలేము. 11వ అధ్యాయంలో కృష్ణుడు చెప్తాడు, అర్జునుడికి స్పెషల్ ఐస్ ఇస్తాడనమాట. అతనికి జ్ఞాన చక్షుష, ఆయనతో ఆ కళ్ళతో అతను యూనివర్సల్ ఫామ్ చూస్తాడనమాట. మామూలుగా మనము కృష్ణుడిని రాముడిని దర్శనం చేసుకోలేము. అందుకే గురువు అనేది ఉండాలన్నమాట. ఓకే, రాముడు తిరిగి వచ్చేటప్పుడు ఆయన మర్యాద పురుషోత్తమని ఇంకో పేరు ఉంటుందన్నమాట. ఒకసారి ఇంకా రేపు రాముడు రాజ్యాన్ని యువరాజు అవుతాడనమాట నెక్స్ట్ రేపు. ఈరోజు పోయేసి కైకే దగ్గర దర్శనం చేసుకొని ఆమె దగ్గర ఆశీర్వాదం తీసుకునేకి వెళ్తాడనమాట. ఆయన వెళ్ళినప్పుడు దశరథ్ మహారాజు ఇద్దరు అక్కడే ఉంటారు, బోత్ కైకేయి అని. అతనుకి చెప్తారనమాట, నువ్వు రేపు ఇక్కడ 14 సంవత్సరాలు వనవాసం వెళ్ళాలి. రాముడికి ఏమీ ఉండదు. మామూలుగా మనకి ఎవరన్నా కొంచెం చెడ్డ వార్త ఇచ్చినామంటే ఫేస్ ఎర్రగా అయిపోవడము, లేకపోతే వాళ్ళని దూషించడము అవన్నీ చేస్తాం. కానీ ఆయన ఈ 3 గుణాలు, రాజస్, తమసిక్ అండ్ సాత్విక్, ఈ 3 గుణాల కన్నా పైన అతని గుణములు ఉంటాయన్నమాట. అందుకే ఎలా వెళ్తాడో అలానే వస్తాడనమాట. వచ్చి సీతకి రావద్దంటాడు. తన్ని సీత ఇస్ ధర్మపత్ని, అందుకని ఆమె కూడా రాముడిని ఫాలో అవుతుంది అనమాట. ఇప్పుడు కలియుగంలో ఏమైపోయిందంటే, ఒకసారి ఒక చిన్న స్టోరీ చెప్తాను మీకు, దాని తర్వాత రాముడు పాస్ట్ టైమ్స్కి వెళ్తాము. భగవంతుడు మనం గురువు ఎంత ఇంపార్టెంట్ అంటే, ఒక అతను వింటాడనమాట. సో ఓకే, గురువు మాట వింటే నేను ఏమన్నా చేయగలుగుతాను అనేసి. సో ఒక గురువు ఉంటాడు, అతనికి శిష్యుడు ఉంటాడు. ఇద్దరు పూర్వకాలంలో శిష్యుడు తెచ్చేంత వరకు ఏం తెచ్చిస్తే గురువు తింటాడనమాట. గురువు తిన్న తర్వాత శిష్యుడు తింటాడు. సో ఈ కథలో శిష్యుడు పోయి అడుగుతాడనమాట, గురువు గారు, నేను ఈరోజు ఎక్కడికి పోవాలా భిక్షాటనకి? ప్రతిరోజు అడిగే వెళ్తారనమాట. అది మన వేదిక్ ట్రెడిషన్. సో గురుగారి దగ్గర పోయేసి, గురుగారు ఈరోజు నేను ఎక్కడ భిక్షాటనకి వెళ్ళాలి అంటే, అతను గురు పత్నితో కొట్లాడిస్తాడనమాట. సో అతను వేరే ధ్యాసలో ఉండి గంగలో మునిగిపో అంటే, మనం వ్యవహారిక భాషలో అంటాం కదా, మనం ఎవరికైనా కోపం ఉంటే పోయి గంగలో మునిగిపో అని, లేదా తూర్పు తిరిగి దండం పెట్టుకోపో అంటాం కదా. సో అలా చెప్తాడనమాట. సో ఈ శిష్యుడు ఏమంటే వెళ్ళిపోతాడు, బ్యాక్ వచ్చి నిజంగానే నా గురువు పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష అని చెప్పేసి ఆ మాట జపిస్తూ గంగలోకి మునిగిపోతాడు. గంగలో కంప్లీట్గా మునిగిపోతాడు. ఎప్పుడు ఈ జపం చేస్తా ఉంటాడు, నా గురువు పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష, నా గురువు ఊరికే చెప్పడు అనవసరంగా అని చెప్పేసి గంగలోకి మునిగిపోతాడు. గంగాదేవి వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఆయన భక్తి చూసి, గురువు మీద ఉండే భక్తి చూసి అతని ఒళ్ళో కూర్చోపెట్టుకొని పాయసం ఇచ్చి, బంగారు కలశంలో పాయసం ఇచ్చి పంపిస్తుంది అనమాట. అంటే అతనికి ఎప్పుడైతే అతనికి ఇంటికి వెళ్తాడో గురువు చూసి ఆశ్చర్యపోతాడు, ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చింది బంగారము, అబ్బా ఏం టెక్నిక్, ఎక్కడికి పోయినావు అని చాలా సంతోషం ఫీల్ అవుతాడు అనమాట గురువు గారు. ఎందుకంటే బంగారం అంతా వచ్చింది, భార్య చూసి సంతోషపడింది, ఇట్లాంటి శిష్యుడు వచ్చింది, దానికి నేను గర్వపడతాను అనేసి. ఓకే, ఎనీవే బంగారు పళ్ళెం తీసుకొని, ఏం చెప్పినావు, ఏం జరిగింది చెప్పంటే, నేనేం చెప్పలే గురుగారు, మీ పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష అనుకునేసి గంగలో పోయినాను, మీరు చెప్పినారు కదా గంగలో పొమ్మని. పోతే ఇట్లా నాకు గంగాదేవి కనపడిచింది, నా పాయసం ఇచ్చింది తిన్నాను అని చెప్పేసి. ఓహో, ఇదేదో భలే ఉంది, నా పాదాలకి ఇంత పవర్ఫుల్లా, నేను ఇంత గొప్పవాడినా అనుకునేసి రేపు నేను ట్రై చేస్తాను అని చెప్పేసి అతను వాళ్ళ గురువుని తలుచుకోకుండా నా పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష అని చెప్పేసి గంగలోకి పోతాడు అనమాట. గంగలోకి పోయి ఎంతసేపు నా పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష అంటే గంగలో మునిగిపోతాడు, ఎవరు బయటికి రాడు. సో నేను ఎందుకు చెప్తానంటే ఈ మాట, మనం ఎప్పుడైతే హంబుల్గా ఉంటామో, మనం గురు శిష్య పరంపర ఫాలో అయ్యి మనం దాస్ మూడ్లో ఉంటామో, అప్పుడు మనకి భగవంతుడు ప్రత్యక్షమవుతాడు. అట్లనేసి నా పాదాలే నాకు రక్ష అనుకొని ఎప్పుడైతే నువ్వు ప్రౌడ్ ఫీల్ అవుతావు, ఐఆమ్ ద డూయర్, నేనే అన్నీ చేస్తాను అంటే, అప్పుడు మనకి ఎప్పుడు భగవంతుని దర్శనం కాదు. సో విల్ కమ్ టు ద దీపావళి నౌ. రాముడు నందగ్రామంలో దిగుతాడనమాట. నందగ్రామంలో దిగుతానే దానికి ముందు హనుమంతుడిని పంపిస్తాడనమాట, టెస్ట్ చేసి అతను రియల్గానే రాజభోగం లేదా, రాజ్యం మీద వాంఛ లేదా, నువ్వు పోయేసి పరీక్షించి ఉంటాడనమాట. సో హనుమంతుడు పోతాడు, భరతునికి వందనములు చేస్తాడు. చేసి భరత, ఇట్లా రాముడు వస్తున్నాడు, 14 సంవత్సరాలు అయిపోయింది, పుష్పక విమానంలో వస్తున్నాడు అని చెప్తే చాలా ఆనందం ఫీల్ అవుతాడు అనమాట. వచ్చి ఆలింగనం చేసుకుంటాడు. నీకేం కావాలో చెప్పు, 10,000 ఆవులు ఇస్తాను, మంచి అమ్మాయిని ఇస్తాను, పెళ్లి చేసుకో అని హనుమంతుడికి చెప్తాడనమాట. సో జెన్యూన్గా అతను భగవంతుడి మీద ప్రేమ ఉంది. అప్పుడు పోయి రాముడికి చెప్తాడనమాట, భరతుడు అనేది ఈజ్ ఎ ప్యూర్ డివోటీ, అతను శుద్ధ భక్తుడు అంటే. సరే, నెక్స్ట్ స్టాపు పుష్పక విరామంలో ఇక్కడ దిగుతారనమాట. ఎక్కడ? నందగ్రామ్ వచ్చి అయోధ్యకి, అది కీకారణ్యం యాక్చువల్గా. అరణ్యంలో ఈయన కుటీరంలో ఉంటాడు. అందరూ ఫ్యామిలీ అంతా వస్తుంది అనమాట. అంటే ముగ్గురు, కౌశల్య, కైకేయి, ఐలాండ్ ప్రభు, సో ఐలాండ్ ఐ గాట్ ఎ సిగ్నల్. సరే, అందరూ వెళ్తే అంతవరకు 14 సంవత్సరాల వరకు అయోధ్యలో ఎవరూ దీపం వెలిగించలేదు, పూజించలేదు. చాలా అంధకారంలో ఉన్నారు. ఎందుకంటే వాళ్ళకి భగవంతుడు దూరమైనాడు, యువరాజు దూరమైనాడు. ఎప్పుడైతే కృష్ణుడు లేడో, రాముడు లేడో, మనం అంధకారంలో ఉంటాం అనమాట, మనం శూన్యంలో ఉంటాం. సో భగవంతుడు లేడు అందుకాబట్టి ఎవరైతే అందరూ అబాండన్ చేసేసి అట్లే వాళ్ళ పాటికి వాళ్ళ ఇండ్లలో ఉంటారు. అప్పుడు రాముడు వస్తాడని న్యూస్ తెలిస్తే ప్రతి ఇంటికి లక్షల దీపాలు వెలిగిస్తారనమాట. ప్రతి ఇంటికి రాముడు రండి, మా ఇంటికి రండి, మా ఇంటికి రండి అని ఆహ్వానిస్తారు. అందరూ బయట పోయి పుష్పక విమానము వస్తూ ఉంటే ఆయన సూర్యవంశంలో, ఇక్ష్వాకు వంశంలో ఆవిర్భవించిన వాడు అనమాట. సో సూర్యుడు వచ్చినట్లు అనిపిస్తుంది అనమాట అందరికీ. ఆయన దిగిన వెంటనే అందరూ ఆహ్వానించి దీపాలతో ఆహ్వానిస్తారు అనమాట. మన మూడు కూడా అట్లే ఉండాలి. భక్తి వినోద్ ఠాకూర్ చెప్తారనమాట, మా దీపంతో మనము మనసులో ఆయన్ని ఆహ్వానించాల. ఎప్పుడైతే భగవంతుడు మనతో ఉంటాడో, భగవద్గీత మన చేతిలో ఉంటుందో, మనకి ఎటువంటి కోరికలు, వాంఛలు మన దగ్గరికి రావు అనమాట. ఎప్పుడు భగవంతుడు ఎప్పుడైతే మీతో ఇదవుతారో, అంటే మీతో ప్లీజ్ అవుతారో, మీ దగ్గర నుంచి అన్ని తీసేసుకుంటాడు. కానీ భక్తి ఇస్తాడనమాట. భక్తి ఉంటే అన్నీ వస్తాయి ఆటోమేటిక్గా. సో ఈ కలియుగంలో ఒకే ఒక మంత్రము, దీపావళి అయినా అన్ని హరినామంలో మనం ఉండాలన్నమాట. హరేర్నామ 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 ఇవ కేవలం కలో నాస్తేవ గతిరన్యత. ఈ కలియుగంలో వేరే మార్గం లేదు, భగవంతుడి నామస్మరణే. మీరు కూడా ఈ కార్తీక మాసంని చాలా హోలీ మంత్, అంటే ఈ మాసంలో మీరు ఏం చేసినా అది 1000 రెట్లు ఫలితం అన్నమాట. ఈ భగవంతుడిని నామస్మరణ కానీ, భాగవతం చదవడం కానీ, ఇట్లా దీపావళి అలాంటి, గోవర్ధన్ పూజ అలాంటి రోజుల్లో మీరు భగవంతుడిని దర్శనం చేసుకోవడం కానీ, మందిరంకి రావడం కానీ, ఏదైనా సేవ చేయడం కానీ చేస్తే మీకు ఎటువంటి చెడ్డ ఉద్దేశాలు రావు. మన లాస్ట్ ఈ శ్లోకంతో ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, మచ్చిత్త మద్గత ప్రాణ బోధయంతశ్చ పరస్పరం కథయంతశ్చ మాం నిత్యం తుష్యంతి చ రమంతి చ. భగవంతుడికి ఎప్పుడూ నామస్మరణ చేస్తూ దీపావళి గడుపుకోవాలని కోరుకుంటూ బలిమర్దన్ ప్రభు కృతజ్ఞతలు చెప్తూ, ఆల్ గ్లోరీస్ టు అసెంబుల్ డివోటీస్. శ్రీల ప్రభుపాదకి ఆల్ గ్లోరీస్.
So we'll have the Artik now, as well as Damodara Ashtakam will continue till 8:30 today, and around 8:25, 8:30 we'll start the movie for 1 hour, and during the movie we'll be serving you the prasadam. Okay? Thank you very much. Please stand up and we can join in the Gaur Aarti. Hare Krishna. Give this. Prasadam. Thank you very much.
I was thinking about
Very good. So we
it
have
works. Oh,
9 people are there. Who has taken the Gaur Aarti? Can you put it? Hiral, can you put the Gaur Aarti?
అన్నీ టెస్ట్ చేసుకొని
শিব জয় জয় গৌরা চাঁদে আরতিক শোভা। শিব জয় জয় গৌরা চাঁদে আরতিক শোভা। জাহ্নবী তট বনে জগমনলোভা। জাহ্নবী তট বনে জগমনলোভা। গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা। জগজন মনলোভা। গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা। জগজন মনলোভা। জগজন মনলোভা। জগজন মনলোভা। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল, হরি বল, হরি বল। নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল। শিব দক্ষিণে নিতাই চাঁদ বামে গদাধর। শিব দক্ষিণে নিতাই চাঁদ বামে গদাধর। নিকটে অদ্বৈত শ্রেণী বাস ছত্রধর। বাস ছত্রধর। শিব বসি আছে গৌরা চাঁদ রত্ন সিংহাসনে। শিব বসি রত্ন সিংহাসনে। আরতি করে ন ব্রহ্মা আদি দেবগণে। জীবনর হরি আদি করি চামর ধুলায়। জীবনর হরি আদি করি চামর ধুলায়। সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষ আদি গায়। সঞ্জয় মুকুন্দ বাসু ঘোষ আদি গায়। শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে, সরি, কিবত শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে, বাজে করতাল। কিবত শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে, বাজে করতাল। মধুর মৃদঙ্গ বাজে পরম রসাল। পরম রসাল শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে শঙ্খ বাজে ঘণ্টা বাজে মধুর 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 বাজে গৌরাঙ্গের আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা আরতিক শোভা জগ জন মন লোভা জগ জন মন লোভা জগ জন মন লোভা নিতাই গৌরারি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌরারি বল হরি বল হরি বল হরি বল নিতাই গৌরা হরি বল ক্ষীব কোটি চন্দ্র যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল ক্ষীব যিনি বদন উজ্জ্বল গল দেশে বনমালা করে ঝলমল মালা করে ঝলমল শিবৎ শিবৎ সুখ নারদ প্রেমে গদ গদ শিব শিব সুখ নারদ প্রেমে গদ গদ ভকতি বিনোদ দেখে গৌরার সম্পদ ভকতি বিনোদ দেখে গৌরার সম্পদ নমো বিষ্ণুপাদায় কৃষ্ণ পৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী ইতি নামিনে নমো বিষ্ণুপাদায় কৃষ্ণ পৃষ্ঠায় ভূতলে শ্রীমতে ভক্তি বেদান্ত স্বামী ইতি নামিনে নমস্তে সারস্বতী দেবে গৌরবাণী প্রচারিণে নির্বিশেষ শূন্যবাদী পাশ্চাত্য দেশ তারিণে सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Please chant. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Sri Radhe. Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu Jaya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha. Nithai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nithai Gaura Hari Bol. Nithai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Premanande Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajakacarya Astotra Sata Vaicharanar Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki. नित्यलीला प्रविष्ट स्तोत्र सतशिला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद महाराज की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वसति गौर भक्तवृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की, वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की, नवदीप मायपुर धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र धाम की, गंगामय जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, श्री श्री कार्तिक व्रत की, श्री श्री दिवाली फेस्टिवल की, श्री श्री लक्ष्मी पूजा महामहोत्सव की, श्री ISB मूवी नाइट की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. So we'll sing Damodar Ashtakam until 8:20, and then after that we will start the movie. So who wants to sing Damodar? After Damodar Ashtakam we'll sing Nursing Prayer. Or you want to sing Nursing Prayer? Nursing Prayer? Okay, we'll sing Nursing Prayer and then Damodar Ashtakam. But can you do faster, Abhay? The Damodar Ashtakam you want to sing? Or who is sing? He wants to sing. Let's go sit down.
Namaste Shemaya. Praladala Darine Hiranyakarshi Purvaksha Shilatangkana Kalae Ito Narsingho Pareto Narsingho Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsingho Pahir Narsingho Hridaye Narsingho Narsim Mamadam Charanam Ratan Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Anvita Lalita Nanyakashipu Anubrenga Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Mangavare Nakha Buddha Shinga Lalita Hiranyavashivu Brenga Keshavanida Anupa Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadvita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimade, Jaya Narsimade. Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Bhakta. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitya Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gora Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande. Could I? Yeah. I can play. I'll play then. I don't know. I think you can play.
Can you play 2 beats? Yeah. 2 beats.
Yeah. No, I'll do the kartals. Namami Shwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Vrajamanam Namami Shwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Vrajamanam Yashoda Biyoloka Nabdavamanam Paramishta Matyanta Todritya Gopya Rudanta Muhur Netra Yugman Rijantam Karam Vaja Yugme शातं कनेत्रम् त्रयुग्मं युग्मेन शातं कनेत्रम् मुहुशशकं पाक्तिरेकाङ्ककण्ठम् स्थितग्रीवदामोदरं भक्तिवदम् इति द्वैक्षलीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् तदीयशीतग्नेषु भक्तजितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमस्तं सन्तावृत्ति वन्दे वरं देवा मोक्षं न मोक्षवदिम्ब न चां न गृह्णेऽहम्बरे सदपिय इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनसा वीरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखं भोज अत्यन्तनीले वृतं कुण्डलैस्निग्धरक्तस्य गोप्या तं मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं वे मनशवीरास्तामलं लक्षलावे नमो देव दामोदरनन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलाब्धिमग्नम् कृपा दृष्टिविष्ट्याति दीनाम्बतानु गृहाणे समामज्ञं मे जक्षिदृश्य कुबेरात्मजो भगमुत्वे भ्रयत्वम् तया मुचितौ भक्तिभाजकृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकाम्ने प्रयच्छ नमो क्षिग्रहो मेऽस्ति दामोदरेया नमो देव नमस्तेस्तु दाम्नेस्तु रादीप्तिदाम्ने तदीयदयाय त्वविश्वसदाम्ने
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवय तुभ्यम् राधिकायै नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम् हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय श्री राधा दामोदर भगवान की जय।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे, जय राधा जय राधा दामोदर दामोदर राधे, जय जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे, जय राधा मदन मोहन राधे, जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन जी की जय, श्री श्री लक्ष्मी नरसिंह देव की जय, श्रीमान महाप्रभु की जय।
Hare Krishna, So prasadam is just outside, so it's a self-serve. You can go, get a prasadam plate and be seated here. So we'll give 2-4 minutes for the preparations time for getting your prasadam here. And the second thing is also we'll serve interim ice cream around 9 o'clock. So for a dessert today. And third thing is we are just requesting everyone to pay $5 for entry. That means some of them has already, I got almost $50 collection. They gave prepaid. So those who are here, I accept even credit card, check, cash, anything is there. So that would be awesome. The reason for that, the movie itself license for doing a public view is $130. I do understand that you know why we are asking for the first time in the movie nights. So please go ahead and we'll start the movie in just 3-4, around 8:30, 5 minutes to get the prasadam plate, be seated here, and we'll run the movie 8:30. Those who are online, so please be with us and we will...
And from where
Hare Krishna, maybe you can maintain little silence here. So we'll just run the movie right now. Thank you very much. How much you want to give? 20. Okay.
Why is it that nature does nothing in vain? And from where arises all that order and beauty which we see in the world? How came the bodies of animals to be contrived in so much art? And for what ends were their several parts? Was the eye contrived without skill in optics? and the ear without knowledge of sounds? How do the motions of the body follow from the will, and from where is the instinct in animals? Migrating birds find their destination? Why do some big fish eat all small fish but one? What is the Rosetta Stone of the bee's secret language? Where does animal intelligence come from? It's not at all surprising that ants behave like ants, birds behave like birds, and mammals behave like mammals. The question is, how do animals know what, when, and how to do what they do? There are three different types of animal behavior. The first one is acquired through a learning process throughout the animal's life. The second behavioral pattern is based on the combination of learned and inherited knowledge. And the third one is the type of behavioral pattern that is entirely inherited and exhibited by all members of the species in the same way, without having to be learned. These inherited behavioral patterns are also known as instincts. Thanks to extensive research in this field, we understand the instinctive behavioral patterns of many animal species quite well. However, there are plenty of examples of animals with complex instincts that are still begging for explanation. Two young Hungarian scholars, in their book entitled Nature's IQ, collected hundreds of such examples and presented them to provoke further thought and research about them. We have examined some extraordinary behavioural examples. How do animals multiply effectively? How do they defend themselves? How do they catch their prey? And how do they raise their offspring?
There are certain animals that have a complex chain of instincts. Along with these instincts, they have extraordinary anatomical features too. My colleagues and I find that these cases might very well challenge the well-known theories of origin.
Potential prey have a variety of notable techniques for self-defense. The color of some animals, for example that of the dart frogs, warns predators that their skin contains mortal venom. Some insects deceive predators by camouflaging themselves, thus blending into the environment. Some species have large spots on their bodies that look like eyes to deceive their attackers. Eye spots on some butterfly species discourage smaller attackers, or they divert the attention from vulnerable parts of the insect's body. A large spot can be seen near the tails on some butterfly fish, while their real eyes are hidden by a stripe. This fish can even swim in reverse, which makes the phenomenon more credible. Some of the frog species living in South America have eye-like parts on their bottom. When a predator attacks them, they turn round instinctively and raise their rear parts. The attacker gets scared by what seems a frightening stare and flees. In order to comprehend these phenomena, we need to understand what instincts are and how they work.
Instincts, I would say, are predisposed pathways in the nerve net in the brain. If you talk about instincts, then you talk about the brain. And a convenient model is that the brain is consisting of many pathways of nerve cells. And we can look at these pathways as a network. When you learn something, you get preferred pathways in this network. Like if you learn to ride a bicycle, then certain pathways occur along these nerves, and they get reinforced. The more times you ride the bicycle, the more you have learned to do it. Now, with instinct, the idea is that you are born with some of these pathways in the network already preferred. They're already set up in a preferable directions. And so you will have some ability to think or to behave already without having to learn to do so.
Another interesting example of self-defense is that of the porcupine fish. These fish are able to puff themselves 3 times bigger than their actual size. So when a predator attacks them, they cannot engorge them. They imbibe water into their body. Complex anatomical features and behavior make it possible for the porcupine fish to execute this behavior. Its mouth is designed so that no water may flow out of it. Its inner head muscles work in the way that they divert water in the direction of its gullet, and its stomach is unbelievably expansive. Its skin is also elastic, so as to be able to expand 3 times its original size.
The porcupine fish lives in tropical seas near coral reefs. Its special anatomical feature is that it has no ribs. It has a remarkable technique of swallowing water. In the case of ultimate danger, this fish swallows 35 gulps of water in 14 seconds. It closes its mouth cover after each gulp to prevent the water escaping. In its throat, a pump-like apparatus forces water upwards, so it flows into its gullet and then streams into its stomach. The appropriate muscles stretch and slacken. Spikes emerge as this creature balloons to 3 times its size. What kind of explanation does contemporary biology provide for the origin of such complex instincts?
With evolutionary biologists, there is generally one explanation for anything that's inherited, and that is that it was the result of a mutation in the past.
Instinctive behavior and anatomical features must go together to result in such behavior. It is difficult to imagine a gradual development. Imagine the fish would have started to expand only a little. It would only have become even more attractive to its natural predators.
To think that it is only humans who use artificial worms for fishing. However, there are animals too that use them. Some of them even equip themselves with fishing rods. The small bulge on the tongue of the alligator snapping turtle resembles a worm. During the day, this snapper rests with its mouth wide open on the bottom of ponds or streams and waits for small fish to see the worm and swim into its mouth. Then it snaps its mouth shut with tremendous speed and swallows the prey.
The question is where the origin of this form of behavior and the accompanying anatomical features is. Let's see what kind of basic characteristics are needed for this. The turtle has a brownish-gray color, and it's interesting that the inside of its mouth has the same color, so it's very well masked in its surroundings. Moreover, its tongue is also brown. Only this worm-like nub is pinkish. Thus, it stands out very distinctly. Plus, a turtle must have proper instincts to be immobile, open its mouth, and to extend that small worm-like bait. According to modern scientific approach, everything we can see in flora and fauna, all characteristics of living creatures, appeared in the course of tiny, gradual, accidental steps. Here it seems the presence of many things are needed simultaneously. The anatomical feature and behavior of the alligator snapping turtle are coded in different places in the DNA. That these things could have appeared accidentally together in such an effective manner does not seem probable at all. Somebody may raise the question whether it is possible that once there was a highly gifted but very lazy turtle which decided to give up chasing fish and would only wait on sight. Later, the rest of the turtles learned this technique from it. In reality, we can see that all turtles are born with this ability. When the female turtle lays its eggs, she leaves them, and the turtles hatch themselves from these eggs. However, they start to gawp without having learned it from their parents or other members of the species. So this behavior is coded in their genes or mind, and how it got there is a mystery.
It is assumed or believed that there is nothing of any complexity that could not evolve by way of natural selection. If you want to explain a behavior that has 10 different characteristics in it, you have to imagine that this is all imagination, because nothing like this can be shown experimentally. You have to imagine first one little change, and this change has to be favorable, even if it doesn't have anything to do with the final behavior that we're thinking about. Then later on, another little change occurs on top of this. So now you have two changes, and these together are also favorable. Then a third one, and a fourth one, and you gradually evolve this by little piece by little piece. And in the end, you have this complex behavior or structure.
There are some behavioral chains that have some benefit only if all their elements are in place. For example, if we want to draw money from a cash machine, first we insert our card, then we have to type our code, select the transaction, and choose the amount. If everything is all right, namely the construction of the machine is proper, the software is working properly, the machine is connected to the bank, then as a result we can get our card back and receive the money. In animal behavior, it is hard to imagine the chain of instincts could develop gradually, because if any of the elements is not in place, the behavior has no advantage for survival. Similarly, if we skipped any elements of this process with the ATM, we don't get any money, which you could say might have an impact on your survival.
Ebből a folyamatból akkor nem jelentenek túlélési előnyt.
There are various unusual ways in which different species live together and help each other in the battle for survival. One of the most interesting examples of symbiosis is the relationship of the colorful clownfish with some of the sea anemones. There are about 30 different clownfish species, among them the well-known bright orange-colored one. The sea anemones, although they look like plants, are actually animals, Candarias, whose poison is lethal. Sea anemones kill their victims with venomous stings from the nematocysts at the tips of their tentacles, but the colorful clownfish is immune. Constantly swimming carefree among the anemone's tentacles, it lives in the latter's embrace. Predatory fish, however, carefully avoid the sea anemone because they know the strength of its deadly poison. In the shelter of the sea anemone, the clownfish doesn't have to hide among the coral reefs when a predator appears. It is completely safe and can simply swim about undisturbed. And how does the sea anemone benefit from this relationship? Due to the clownfish's constant swimming about, it gets freshly oxygenated water and bits of food. Also, the clownfish protects the sea anemone from its enemy, the butterfly fish, who is also immune to its poison and likes to clip its tentacles. And how is the clownfish protected from the poison? Scientists noticed when a juvenile clownfish swims near a sea anemone for the first time, it gently and very cautiously touches its tentacles. As a result of this vaccination, a chemical coating appearing on the skin of the young fish protects it from the sea anemone's sting for a lifetime. If we rubbed that coating off its body, it would also die from the sea anemone's venom. Researchers concluded that a clownfish's system of defense is based on an instinctive behavior. Namely, the young fish recognizes the species with which it will be able to live together for its lifetime, and knows that it should touch very carefully at the first meeting.
különös példa a kis
The
tisztogató.
case of the small cleaner rasa is also a very interesting example. They live at specific sites among coral reefs that other fish regularly visit to get cleaned. The relationship between predator fish and the small cleaner rasa is the most intriguing to me. Let's take the coral grouper as an example. It's a rather bloodthirsty predator. It eats every small fish. However, when this small fish and the grouper get close to each other, the grouper stops. The small fish swims near it and removes dead skin from its skin and gill and bites off parasites living there. The grouper opens its mouth wide. The small cleaner rasa happily swims in it and removes dead skin and parasites even from there. The question arises how this special relationship between a predator and a small fish came into being. How does the predator know instinctively that it should not do any harm to this particular small fish? And how does the small fish know that it may get close to this predator? It may even swim into its mouth because it will not be hurt. Researchers examine the contents of the stomach of the coral grouper and other predator fish, and they never found cleaner rasas in it. Somehow, they are protected. We suspect that the cleaner rasas' dancing movements and striped design is a clue or stimulus for the predators not to destroy them. But nobody presumes how this relationship began. Imagine, once an adventurous mutant small fish thought to itself, well, I will try to swim near this predator and will try to eat from its body, moreover from its mouth. I'm sure it will understand my good intentions. At the very same time, the predator thought, I usually eat small fish, but I will make an exception with this little striped one. Maybe it will provide me a service by cleaning the inside of my mouth. These explanations obviously sound very improbable. This case has no acceptable evolutionary explanation based on gradual development.
Cleaner fish is very, very much smaller than the one who's being cleaned. And it seems to me that this cleaner fish is really too small to be of any interest in eating with such a fish.
The coral grouper is a 45 centimeter or 15-inch long fish. The little cleaner rasa is 10 to 14 centimeters or 4 inches. It is exactly the same size of other fish that the coral grouper usually eats. Thus, the sizes of the fish don't provide sufficient explanation to understand this unusual partnership.
We can see that part of this story involves the color. The cleaner fish is a very bright color. The kinds of fish that are mostly eaten tend to be fish that are what's called cryptically colored. They blend into the environment so that somebody doesn't find them to eat them. It's not impossible, I think, to imagine that the grouper who eats fish does not have in his mind at all the possibility of eating something that has such a bright color.
The fish in the coral reefs are the most colorful ones in the world. Coral grouper eats many kinds of very colorful fish. We cannot say that the coral grouper would especially abhor colorful fish.
In the end, however, I cannot explain. I don't happen to have seen a theory of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the evolutionary biologists has tried to make a theory about this.
Animals communicate in many different ways, by sounds or visible signs, or even by transmission of chemicals and electrical stimuli. Except for birds, all animal groups use chemical substances to communicate. Various scents are used for various purposes. The red wood ants, for instance, inform each other about the location of food in this way. Sounds are used by certain insects, fish, and birds. Communication through light signals is common among fish or insects. Bodily gestures are mostly used among mammals. However, the tiny honeybees also do a remarkable job in a language of dance.
The dance of the honeybee is a unique example of a complex communication system because in this one dance, the honeybee communicates the distance and direction to a flower field to the members of its hive. The neural mechanisms governing such a dance are largely unknown.
The bee can gather information about the location of food from the horizontal surface of a flower field, then translate this into vertical movements within the perpendicular honeycomb via an incredible dance with built-in signals. The form of their typical dance resembles the shape of an 8. For example, if the food source is in the sun's direction, the bee moves upward in the straight section. If the food is 30 degrees to the left from the direction of the sun, the straight part of the bee's dance will also deviate from the vertical by 30 degrees to the left. The number of times it sways its abdomen indicates the distance from the food.
There are both simple and complex communication systems in the bee family. For example, the bumblebee has a simple communication system in which it communicates the smell of the flower to members of its hive. The honeybee, on the other hand, has a complex communication system in which the direction and distance to the flower field are communicated. Scientists, evolutionists believe that step by step, the simple communication system of the bumblebee could have developed and evolved into the complex communication system of the honeybee's dance. However, there is no scientific step-by-step description of how this evolution of a simple communication system to the complex communication system could have developed. Furthermore, the communication of the honeybee has to require that both the audience, the honeybees that are listening, and the honeybee that is communicating, that is dancing, both speak and communicate in the same dance language. So therefore, the gradual development of a simple communication system of the bumblebee into the complex communication system of the honeybee seems very unlikely.
Periodic and regular displacement of groups of the same species is called migration. Animals that migrate in one-year cycles, insects, crabs, fish, birds, mammals, often know surprisingly well when to leave and in which direction to travel. Navigation is the art of reaching a destination. To be successful, an animal not only has to know exactly in which direction it should go, but also when to start the journey. They are able to find and stick to the right direction by recording, processing, and correctly applying different types of information.
Salmon are freshwater fish that spend the first few years of their life after birth in the same freshwater spring or lake where they were born. After they are full-grown individuals, they migrate to the open ocean, where they spend a few years in the open ocean in salt water. After they have spent a few years in salt water, they migrate back to the same spot in the fresh water where they were born. This migration requires that they smell the chemical differences in the water so that they can struggle against the river's current back from the river mouth where they entered the open ocean, against rocks, against fallen tree trunks, sandbanks, and jump across falls against the river's current back up to the same lake or freshwater spring where the salmon were born. When they arrive, the salmon spawn eggs because the eggs can only hatch in the freshwater. According to scientists, the ancestors of the salmon were similar to trout, freshwater fish that never traveled to the ocean but stayed only in freshwater, in the rivers. We find no logic or evidence how freshwater fish that spend their entire life in a lake or freshwater river or spring can develop the ability, the navigational and migrational instincts and behaviors of the salmon to migrate to the open ocean and back.
The most amazing wanderers of the animal kingdom are the migratory birds. Half of the world's species migrate annually, and months later return to their nesting site. Migrating routes are different, and the distances covered also vary. Some migratory birds are able to rest on the ocean's waves. Others, however, cannot.
Bar-tailed godwit nestlings migrate just a few weeks after their parents leave them. They collect by the thousands on the Alaskan Peninsula to gorge and feast upon clams and other organisms from the intertidal mudflats. After their feast, they stop eating and their internal organs undergo a change. Their organs are left lightened and the fat buildup acts as an energy reserve for their journey. Thousands and thousands of these bar-tailed godwit nestlings, just newborns, fly across from Alaska to Australia and New Zealand, a distance of 11,000 kilometers that these newborn birds cover in 8 days without stopping for food, rest, or water. It is an amazing mystery how these newborn fledglings cover the longest migratory route diagonally across the Pacific Ocean without any experienced guide to show them the way. The golden plover nestlings migrate just a few weeks after their adult parents leave them. They migrate all the way from Alaska to Hawaii, nearly 3,000 miles across the Pacific Ocean. This requires that they flap their wings continuously 250,000 times, and they cannot rest on the ocean surface. Also, they have to put on just the right amount of fat, 70 grams, which is 50% of their body weight, just enough so that they are not overweight for their journey, but just the right amount so that they have enough energy to travel across the Pacific Ocean, where there are no islands and where they have to continuously fly for 88 hours.
As far as getting the energy which is required, you could use a Darwinian model. What I would say is that the bird is constructed in such a way that when the stomach has reached a certain, it begins to feel uncomfortable. Now, this point has been selected in the past. In other words, the birds that ate too much or too little and did not leave any offspring, you know, typical Darwinian story seems to fit here pretty well. As far as how does it find this island, we now know that birds use these magnetic, they have in their brain some kind of little magnets or something while they're flying, even at night. If they go a little this way, they would begin to feel a little uncomfortable, and if they too far this way, they would begin to feel a little uncomfortable, and this could be arranged by the magnetic sense that they have in the brain.
During the trip, the birds have to form a perfect V, which is streamlined so that the birds can save energy as they travel in a flock across the Pacific Ocean. So we can see that the flight formation of the bird, the choice of speed, the right amount of fuel to store in the body, all are interconnected components that together serve as the basis of a successful migration. However, if any of these features is taken away, the bird cannot successfully migrate. For example, if the bird developed or evolved to fly 2,000 miles across the ocean, it would not lead to any survival advantage because there is no land at that distance. So it does not seem likely, and it seems very improbable that these anatomical features, these migratory behaviors and instinctive behaviors, feeding behaviors, could have developed one after another to build the successful migration pattern of the bird.
In connection with the growth of new generations, we may come up with unique mysteries to be solved. The Molly fowl hatches its eggs differently from most birds. First, the two parents dig a hole 15 feet wide and 3 feet deep. They gather twigs and leaves into the pit, and then they cover it with a layer of sandy soil. The hen lays her eggs in the middle in the egg chamber. The hen lays one egg a week. Then she entrusts their makeshift fortress to the care of her mate. The male takes care of the eggs during the hatching period of 9 months. The eggs hatch due to the warmth of the fermenting vegetable matter in the mound. The bill and the oral cavity of the male are able to feel the temperature. He maintains the temperature of the mound at 93.2 degrees Fahrenheit, or 34 degrees Celsius, and allows a maximum fluctuation of 1.8 degrees, although daily and yearly temperatures vary considerably. If the mound overheats from inside, he removes the sand from the eggs. If the sun shines excessively, he snatches more sand onto the mound. The chicks hatch at different times. They do not choke under the earth, but dig themselves out of the mound with their eyes closed. After having hatched from the mound, they go into the bushes. They never meet their parents. However, later, they apply the same method of hatching as their parents did. How could this method of hatching come into being and be passed down from generation to generation?
What you would do is create a scenario of going back, and you would build this adaptation piece by piece. First, the birds are laying their eggs on the ground, and they're taking care of this. They're taking care of them the way the hen would sit on the eggs or whatever. Then they, for some reason, and you'd have to invent why, they start building a bigger nest. And then maybe they start to bury the eggs to hide them from predators. But they still stay there and watch the nest. This is the way you would try to think about it.
Az ornitológia szakirodalma szerint a speciális költési módszer valahogyan a hagyomány...
According to the literature of ornithology, the special method of breeding somehow developed from the traditional method of sitting on eggs. The two systems can work separately, alone, but the transition from one method to the other is not possible with the eggs remaining viable. That is why I think that no transition forms exist between these methods.
Hogy ezen módszerek között az átmeneti formák nem léteznek.
Complex animal instincts make scientists of different stripes doubt Darwin's theory of evolution. Some of the scientists totally discount the evolutionist approach, and others criticize only some of its elements.
The majority of the scientific community believes in the theory of evolution, according to which complex instincts have evolved from previous simpler instincts. Sometimes they name a simple instinct that they regard as a preliminary form of a complex behavioral pattern. Sometimes they cannot name such a simple instinct, but they assume there had to be one. The problem is that there is no evidence based on either experiments or observation that could explain in detail how simple instincts become more complex.
I think another reason to suspect this idea that there can be selection for this and for this and for this separate selection, that's the view of selection that I disagree with. And it doesn't seem very plausible when you're talking about the complexity of the way of life of any kind of organism. This idea of adding piece by piece is in some sense logical, but in another sense it just doesn't feel right. They all need to be taken care of at the same time. Natural selection can be seen to be responsible for maintaining a healthy, well-adapted population. But there's no evidence that it can be held responsible for evolution of new characteristics.
Tudományok között van egy bizonyos hierarchia.
There is a certain hierarchical order among the disciplines.
A legegyszerűbb dolgok.
Physics deals with the smallest things, particles and their properties. Chemistry is based on physics. What chemistry teaches cannot contradict physics.
Nem lehet ellentétben a fizikával.
Biology is in turn based on chemistry, and what biology says cannot contradict physics and chemistry.
A fizikával és a kémiával. Na most az egész
A problem therefore occurs when Darwinist and neo-Darwinist theory contradicts these sciences.
In nature, things tend to move from an organized state towards an unorganized one. Let's take, for example, that of an uninhabited house. Sooner or later, native forest will overgrow it. Then it crumbles to dust. Let's take a living organism that dies, perishes. Sooner or later, this well-organized structure goes wrong, dissolves and moulders. So things are heading toward disorganization from organization, and not vice versa. It's very difficult to imagine on a materialistic scientific basis that a series structure will materialize from a pile thrown together accidentally, without any intelligent external influence. Now, I am not religious. I discredit Darwin's theory of evolution, not on religious but on strictly scientific and materialistic basis. I came to the conclusion through a rational system of argument and calculation that Darwinism may not be true.
I don't think that Darwin got everything wrong. I think he was correct in his observations about what we today call microevolution, variations within a species. It's true that human breeders can select different animals for breeding and in that way get different results. Bigger dogs or smaller dogs, dogs with long hair or short hair. This is observable. There can be variation within species. It's also true that the fit will survive. If a plane crashes on some Arctic island, those who are more fit are going to survive the harsh conditions, but that really isn't enough to explain the origin of radical new features of organisms. Also, according to Darwin, the fossil record was one of the principal problems with his theory. His theory proposed that there should be millions of transitional fossils, but the fossil record really doesn't yield that kind of evidence, even 200 years after Darwin's birth. What the fossil record shows is that species come into existence rather fully formed, they persist for some time, and then they disappear. So the missing links aren't there.
The question arises, if today serious scientific doubts about the theory of evolution have come up, what factors contributed to its widespread acceptance?
The idea of natural selection is based in the idea of competition. When you look at a population of organisms and you are an evolutionary biologist, you see different genotypes, each of which is hoping to be increased in the future generations. So blue eyes will be competing against brown eyes, and it's generally a competition-oriented way of thinking. And in fact, Darwin got his idea of natural selection in part from reading the British economists of the 18th and 19th centuries.
He was very much influenced by the work of the economist Malthus, who proposed that human populations expand in number beyond the ability of resources to support them. Therefore, there necessarily, according to Malthus, had to be some adjustment. Human populations had to be reduced by war or famine or disease. And Darwin extended these principles beyond human populations to animal populations. And this is the origin of the idea of the struggle for survival, survival of the fittest.
We live in a society which is basically capitalist economy. And in that economy, competition it's the wheel on which everything turns. The whole society is oriented this way. Everything is in competition with everything else. And then you have these scientists who have the opportunity to use a concept which is based in competition. And you see, or I see, that there's a social pressure to think in terms that would be coherent with the life of the rest of society. And to me, it's quite clear that one cannot oppose the idea of natural selection in this society, because that basic idea of competition is in everything. What happens in science is that if they run across some information or a way of looking at that they cannot deal with, given the kind of models they're using, they just put it aside. They don't let this observation or theory interfere with their studies, which are focused on what they can explain.
The word paradigm was applied to science by Thomas Kuhn, who was a physicist, and he also wrote about the history of science. In his famous book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, he proposed that scientific work is carried out according to theoretical frameworks, which he called paradigms. What is factual is determined by the paradigm under which scientists are operating. The same report may be considered factual by one scientist operating under a paradigm that can accommodate such things, and the same report may be considered non-factual by a scientist operating under a paradigm that does not accommodate such things. Sometimes contradictory facts that cannot be accommodated within the paradigm begin to accumulate, and this may provoke a crisis in the paradigm if a sufficient number of reports of evidence that contradict it accumulate. Then scientists may be forced to modify or change their paradigm. This is sometimes called a paradigm shift, a shift in theoretical perspectives. The goal of science is to get true knowledge of the world we live in. The task of understanding the origin of instinctive behaviors in animals is very much a work in progress, whether we're talking about the scientists who are pursuing Darwinian evolutionary explanation, or researchers who are proposing different kinds of alternatives to the Darwinian theory of evolution.
When it comes to the explanation of instincts, as well as the origin of species itself, there are several alternatives the scientific community has been considering lately. Some of the new approaches prefer completely different models, while others suggest certain modifications or additions to the mainstream evolutionary theory, involving philosophical elements in the scientific discourse.
I'm not dismissing the Darwinian view. I'm just saying that it's incomplete, and I think missing certain key points. There is no evidence that there is selection working on one property during evolution. It's more satisfying to think of what has been called soft selection. Soft selection works not on this character or that character or some other characteristic, but works in such a way as to weed out first the most abnormal individuals, then the somewhat less normal individuals, then the somewhat less, and so on, until you reach the level that the population can be supported by its environment. It's called the carrying capacity of the population. I call this philosophy of nature, or natural philosophy. This was a discourse which took place in Europe in the 19th century. And the idea of natural philosophy is to use the knowledge of science to try and create an understanding of what the world is, what we are doing in the world, what is our role in the world. There has been a coming together of philosophy and science, and there has been a rebirth of natural philosophy, especially in physics. And I think this is a good thing.
In my view, species did not develop from each other, but they appeared simultaneously. The manners of behaviour are pre-programmed in these species. Although I don't belong to any organised religion, I still think that there was some sort of higher intelligence needed to create and generate these complex instincts, as well as the species themselves.
As the living structure itself was created by an intelligent designer on the basis of an intelligent plan, instincts were built in which determined the operation of this structure.
Az ösztönöket is az intelligens tervezettség elméletének a
If I had to summarize the essence of the intelligent design theory in one sentence, I would say that life itself and the basic elements of life did not come into existence according to the laws of inanimate nature, but by the intercession of some intelligent factor outside nature as we know it now.
tényező közbeavatkozása hozta létre. Tételezzük fel, hogy osztogatják a...
Let's imagine that someone receives the Nobel Prize for creating a living cell in a laboratory. Okay, how would that happen? In a laboratory, by complicated machines. Through complicated technological processes, people would have created that cell, not accidentally, but by using their intelligence to the maximum.
A bevetése révén. Na most ebből is látjuk,
we can see from this that life cannot possibly come into being on the basis of the laws of inanimate nature, nor without the involvement of intelligence.
Nem lehetséges intelligencia nélkül. Felvetődik az a kérdés, hogy
The question that naturally arises is, what is the difference between creationism and the intelligent design theory?
Mi a kapcsolat, mi a viszonyuk egymással?
Sometimes people don't see any difference between these two approaches. Materialist critiques especially tend to label intelligent design as a religious belief. In reality, although creationism and the intelligent design theory have a lot in common in terms of their conclusions, their basis is completely different. And this cannot be emphasized enough.
És azt hiszem, ezt nagyon kell hangsúlyozni, mert a
The main premise of creationism is that information has been revealed in the Bible or in other scriptures that are the words of God. God has created the species and the world according to his own rules and laws, which science is not supposed to question, only acknowledge.
Adaptálni, hozzáigazítgatni. Az intelligens tervezettség viszont...
Intelligent design's main premise is exactly the opposite. It is exclusively based on materialist, scientific observations and arguments. Utilizing universal mathematical principles, it especially criticizes randomness theory.
Indul el, tehát éppen ezért egészen más a kiinduló pontja.
In the world of science, an idea or theory may have many different inspirations. A scientific idea could come from some religious text. It could come from a dream, it could come from a novel or a poem. The source of the idea isn't what's important. What's important is that a scientist is able to justify the idea in terms of observation, experiment, and scientific inference. If that is done, and then it shouldn't matter where the idea comes from. And actually, the history of science is full of examples of such things.
According to this approach, modern science may even get some inspiration from ancient ideas to find a full explanation for phenomena explained in an unsatisfactory way up to today. For example, the Vedic writings of India mention hidden components of reality that may help to understand the nature and origin of living creatures more deeply.
According to the Vedic text, there are millions of body types which are basically fixed, although they could vary to some extent consistent with what we observe around us. However, there is a kind of evolution in the Vedic cosmology. It is not an evolution by which one bodily form changes into another bodily form. It is an evolution of the conscious self through different kinds of bodies, through different species, according to its level of consciousness, which can change. So there can be an evolution of consciousness, not necessarily an evolution of one kind of body changing into another kind of body. Under the Vedic paradigm, an organism has several different components. One component is a gross physical body made of the ordinary chemical elements. A second component is a subtle mental body. A third component is a conscious self called the Atma, which resides within the gross and subtle machinery of the body. And there is a fourth component, a super self, a localized manifestation of the supreme conscious being in the heart of the living entity. So, with these expanded resources, it's possible to contemplate other places that the programming for the instinctive behaviors could reside. We might consider these programs for instinctive behaviors in animals to be something like apps, which are designed by the Supreme Conscious Being. They are downloaded into the subtle mental body of the organism, and they are accessed by the brain. And when they are accessed like that, these programs run on the machinery of the gross physical body. So from the standpoint of the Vedic paradigm, there are additional resources, additional possibilities to contemplate in terms of where these instinctive behaviors originate and where they reside in the organism. I do see signs of a paradigm change coming in biological science. Rodney Brooks is a scientist at the Artificial Life Lab at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He wrote an interesting article in Nature a few years ago. Nature is the world's most influential scientific journal. In this article, he pointed out that the programs of artificial life and artificial intelligence are failing to deliver the results most scientists expected would be possible. This is interesting because if life really is just a complex organization of material elements, then we should expect that we should be able to duplicate it in robots and computers. Scientists have been successful only to a limited extent in doing this. What is the reason for the failure? Rodney Brooks proposed in his article in Nature that the reason may be we are missing something. There might be some missing sort of stuff, he said, in living systems outside our current scientific understanding. And what might that extra stuff be? Among the possibilities he listed in this article in Nature were a soul or some kind of vital force.
It was the materialism and atheism of the 18th and 19th centuries that allowed for the theory of evolution. Well, it's obvious that our worldview and lifestyle are totally different, and we are living in a different way. If on the one hand we suppose that everything that's happening in the world has no sense or purpose, or if on the other we think that everything that exists is following a plan. In this latter case, we might also think that our life, too, is not just a series of random occurrences. It, too, has a sense or a purpose to it.
Watching the movie tonight with us, Nature Psyche. Thank you for joining the Silicon Valley movie night presented by ISB Hood. Alternate Friday presented ISB. Thank you everyone for your time. Have a good night. Hare Krishna.